All right. What's going on, guys? All right, so we got LSDI up 300% at the high. You can take a look at this one. But there has been a theme of the past couple days of penny stocks ripping. So we have today, we had LSDI. Yesterday there was a penny stock. I forget what it was. I had to pull up my trades. Yesterday, I can show you the calendar. So yesterday, I didn't post a recap. I didn't really trade all that much. Only up $92. It goes up like 100 or maybe 160 at the high or something like that. Trading FFIE. So FFIE was the other penny stock. Or SIN. So SINT actually was the one. So actually, now that I don't need to look at the trades now that I know. But yeah, so we had FFIE, which was a runner the past 2 days, which is a penny stock. That started to gain traction. Then we had SINT, another penny stock, gained some traction. Pretty decent moves percentage-wise. And then today, LSDI, another penny stock that went even bigger than the past two. We're up 300%. From 43 cents, closing at 43 cents, ripping all the way up to $225. Sorry, $2.25. $225. Imagine that. Yeah, $2.25. Yeah, so yesterday, I traded SINT. That's the only, I just took the breakout on SINT yesterday here. And then riding it up, I was up about 160. I was really looking to get aggressive for this first pullback to hold up and to rip and continue. So I was getting really aggressive, and it didn't end up holding up, and I gave back about half of the gains, finishing up 92. Yeah, usually I don't trade penny stocks, but this is kind of the only thing that I liked at the time. I think FFIE, late morning or actually afternoon started to rip up, but I wasn't watching it that closely. So LSDI, this one, we can take a look here and go through our little checklist. So does it have news? Does not have news. A couple of stocks that have been ripping though had not been having news. Just straight off technicals, straight off short squeeze. Let's see here. You can take a look at the float. And so since the stock did close below 75 cents yesterday, that means the halt levels are going to be 15 cents to the upside and 15 cents to the downside. So we could be seeing lots and lots of halts here in LSDI, so that's another thing to keep in mind. And for me, usually tight halt bands are definitely a little bit trickier to trade. Catching dips are going to be tricky because of potentially trying to time a dip and getting caught in a halt down. So looks like I'm lagging here. Am I lagging? All right, I think we're good. But yeah, so the float here on LSDI is 1.11 million. So very low, considered a low float, probably almost a micro float. And so that's probably a good cause for the volatility that we have today on LSDI. The problem is usually stocks that go this high, 300% pre-market, a lot of the times they tend not to be the winner at the open. So I have to be careful buying too high because a lot of times, like at this point, It's a lot of profit taking and shorts looking to time the top versus longs getting in after a 300% move thinking it's going to go another 100 or 300%. Which it could always happen though. It could happen. We could see a nice red to green on it at the open, and it could go another 200, 300%. It could go 1,000%, honestly. I mean, the market is primed. I feel like ever since GME and AMC, I think the market is primed for something nice. I mean, FFIE went 1,000% since yesterday, or not yesterday, I mean the day before. So since Tuesday, it's up over 1,000%. So, 1,000% moves, it's totally possible in this type of market. And that's just the kind of sentiment that we're in ever since GME popped up. So, sentiment's shifted a little bit to be a little bit hotter. However, it's finding the one stock that is going to make the move on the day, the main stock. You could take a look at SLNA as well. On the daily chart, lastly, so we have no news in LSDI. You have a 1 million share float. You have this high here at 250 after the reverse split. So that could be a target area to look for. And then after that, all the way up here at $4. So it looks like we IPO'd back in March. We'll see how this one holds up. If it holds up, then we could see a nice another leg here at the open, which would be nice. But again, it's going to be tight halt bands, so it's going to be tricky. Yeah, it's definitely going to be tricky for sure. Buying halt up doesn't even guarantee profits sometimes. It's just sometimes it'll halt up and it'll open lower. So, it's going to be tough to work around. But if this is the only thing that we have to work with, I will have to, give it a shot and just try to manage my risk as best as possible and try to avoid any sort of halt down. Peggy, PEGY. Do not see any news on this one either. However, there have been no news tickers running, so I'm not really too worried about that. But it does have a larger float. Let's see. Let's take a look at the float on this one. PEGY. Pineapple Energy. We've traded this one before. Let's see here. Ownership. So 62 million share float. 62 million share float, which is quite high. However, it is a penny stock, so we could turn shares pretty fast if it does decide to get a lot of volume. We do have a nice gap here up to 23 cents. Well, I'd say first we have, looks like we topped out at right at this level here at the low of that candle. That was support and now resistance. If we can break over that, the next area is going to be an area where we failed to go higher, to be around 23, 25 cents, I'd say. And then from there, looks like we have a nice gap all the way up to 45 cents. So this one does have room if it does start to open up. If it does get an influx of volume, if this is the main winner on the day, this is definitely, yeah, it looks like, wow, that perfectly coincided here with that high. So if we can hold this area and then at the open curl up and retest 20, then we're looking at 25 and then potentially 43 cents. If this is the one I have to trade, then this is the one I have to trade. And I might want to look into holding on to my winners and giving it a little bit more time, maybe up to 2 or 3 minutes, 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, because some of these times these penny stocks, they take a long time to really make the move. Like for example, FFIE was more of a grindy action, and so giving your winners a little bit more time and allow you to kind of take more profits off the table. Like for example, yeah, it's like you could just give it like maybe you catch a breakout here. Let's say you enter here around 80 cents for the breakout. Okay, we break out by 1 cent. What are you gonna take, a 1 cent profit? You know, it's just a grindy price action. We dip down, you know, give it a couple minutes, and then maybe you can get maybe 5 or 6 or 7 cents. Or if you really want to hold for the front side, you could potentially get 15 cents. But yeah, the longer hold times, yeah, definitely take discipline, like Haddon's saying. Waiting patiently can be hard. I think that, you know, if Peggy moves anything like FFIE, then it's definitely going to be more valuable to be giving it that room and not taking profits so fast, which I tend to do a lot. But it is part of the strategy that I've been using, and that's how I'm able to be consistently green, because I take my profits when I have them. But those work well on a like a low float ticker that's more thinly traded, because on the breakout you could get a 10 to 20% move, like just on the straight breakout. Just break out at $3 and you move up to 330 within a few seconds because of a short squeeze. But some of these larger float tickers or the lower price penny stocks, they won't move similar to that. So to get that same 10% move, you will need to hold a little bit longer. So PEGY is the second leading gapper, up 62%. LSDI is the first leading gapper, up 300%. We're holding this area. I think I'm going to watch LSDI for the open. Yeah, your biggest losses are always on penny stocks. I will not trade anything under $1 for a long time. Yeah, I feel you on that one. It's definitely a lot more difficult to trade for some people. Scalping penny stocks is very hard. Like scalping as far as hyper scalping, what I'm doing. We're talking 2 second, 3 second hold times, because it just doesn't have that level of volatility. Because the spread is like you're risking like a cent for like a quarter of a cent versus like a $2 stock like LSDI right now. The spread's 1 cent, so you're risking 1 cent for potentially, you know, it's easy to have a break-even trade or a 1-to-1 risk to reward. Versus LSDI, it's easy to have a negative risk to reward. Not LSDI, I mean like a penny stock, a stock under $1. It's easy to have a negative risk to reward. And you may think that like a 3/4 of a cent is like, you may think that getting filled 3/4 of a cent above the bid is a decent fill, but sometimes it's not, because if you're taking 10,000 shares, you know, on 1 cent, if you lose 1 cent on that, it's, what is that, $100? It's $100, and then you're just losing that on the spread most of the time. SINT, let's take a look. I mean, anything obvious yet. It is holding up the range though, holding up these lows. So if we can bounce up, maybe we can see a move or a test of the upper end of the range. So let's put an alert in this area. put an alert actually up at 15 cents. Then if we can test the upper ends of this range, maybe hold, pull back, and then rip up to 22 cents. Now it could be nice. So far, it's been a pretty consistently small green days throughout the month, which is fine. It's been a lot more difficult to trade for me. I've been experiencing a lot more difficulty with holding on to gains and finding setups that I like. Yeah, I have a bad feeling about LSD at the open, and especially with the tight halt bands, it's going to be definitely difficult to time any bottoms, and it's going to be a little bit, I would say, daunting of trying to catch dips. Maybe breakouts is the way to go. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, if I can close out this month small green, I'll be fine with that. It's been a difficult month, so I don't want to force myself to to make any sort of quota on the month. But if I can close out just consistently small green for the rest of the month, I'd be happy with that. But only two very small red days, a lot of small green days, and some months are going to be like this. Some months are going to be like this, and it always passes. It always passes, though. As long as you can kind of hang out by the at the top of your all-time highs in your account, then that's a win. Then that's definitely a win, because the market's always shifting, and it's always giving new setups, new stocks, and you just got to wait for the right market, the right setups for you, and then go for it. That will make up for all of the slow periods. SINT. I'll put it on the side chart here just so I can keep an eye on it. Yeah, it's still under VWAP, but it's good to keep an eye on it. I usually don't like to trade backside all that much unless I'm really desperate. So yeah, LSDI, if any of you guys were up early in the morning, that would have been nice. Here at 8 a.m. Dang, I was up at 8 a.m. too. If I would have sat down, I could have potentially had some decent trades, but who knows? It could also be red. I mean, it's happened before. Being red on the stock going up happens before. So nice bull flag. However, there was a fake out, false breakout. Looks like some traders were looking for the 1 minute pullback play or the 3-bar play. So the 3-bar play or the 1 minute pullback is, rip up, one pullback, one red candle pullback, and then the next candle ripping up, making new highs and continuing higher. However, it wasn't that aggressive. Looks like some people got caught in there, and then took a little bit more time to curl back up, but did form a nice kind of bull flag here if you kind of do erase this false breakout. And so making another leg there, and then looks like on the 5 minutes, a nice bull flag, 5 minute bull flag. So a good entry would be either off the higher lows or break of the downward trend. So if you would have bought the break of the downward trend, let's say you're getting in here around 155, 156, then it looks like you're in the green for the entire trade. I don't know how this candle formed, so it could have popped up to 161 and then did some like debauchery type of stuff, come all the way back down to 148 and then back up to 160, back down to 148, you know, all that type of stuff that you see within the same candle. But yeah, if you would have got in and held through this 1 minute, you would have been in the green the whole time. So very nice trade there. 5-minute bull flag. So after you see a 5-minute setup, a lot of the times the next 1 minute setup continues as well. So you have this 5-minute breakout, because on the 5 minutes considered a 5-minute bull flag. On the 5 minute on this one, this is just a 5-minute continuation play, or a 1 minute play, because you don't see the 5 minute. The 5 minute is just a continuation move, but on the 1 minute, it's a 1 minute setup, a 1 minute bull flag. And then here you have the 5-minute setup, or I guess you could say this is an extended 1 minute bull flag, but it's more so like a 5-minute setup, because it's very clean on the 5 minute. And then the 1 minute setup after a 5-minute setup, usually, I mean, it's not all the time, but it has high probability of continuing. So it should be a 1 minute bull flag again. And it's not a 3-bar play because it did take that extra minute to go. So the 3-bar play would be this red candle just continuing higher in this green candle, but it took an extra minute. So 5-minute setup followed by a 1 minute setup is always a good setups to look for. We did see that continue, a very nice strong continuation up through here. Here's a second 1 minute pullback, which once you start to get to the second 1 minute pullback, you know, maybe the low will hold up, but the breakout is high risk. It's high risk. High risk for false breakout is what I mean. And if the second pullback holds, the third pullback starts to get to be like, might as well just like put money in a slot machine. Because the higher it goes on 1 minute setups, you know, as it goes higher, the higher likelihood you're going to see that false breakout. The 5-minute setup kind of resets the momentum. Very nice here in LSDI. JZDG. Did I have that one? Very nice. JZGD or JZZG? JDG. Jesus. JDZG. Okay, there we go. So here's a 5-minute setup. Let's see here, 5 minutes. Five-minute breakouts, 1 minute pullback. Let's see if it holds up. Let's take some shares on the bid here. If I can get filled, I'm not getting filled. What the heck, man? Ay, ay, ay. I have my, this is why the offset works. I don't have an offset. It is a 1 cent spread though. I should have just bought the ask. I should have just bought the ask. Oh, there was a nice bid there at 24. I tried to put my order at 25. It started moving up without me. There's this 1 minute pullback. So 5-minute breakout, 1 minute pullback. There's your setup. Right here, and it's going, I couldn't get filled. So that's a good classic setup that I use all the time. It's okay. We'll see some more. We're going to see a lot more setups. I am not worried. So we did see the 1 minute pullback hold up, but it looks like we didn't continue higher. Now it's looking like we're breaking below previous highs on the 5 minute, turning out to be a false breakout. So this is where I start to see that the top is getting set in. Looks to be a little bit more bearish. Shorts are looking at this, probably like, all right, probably start to take a position and see if we can get a bigger pullback. They're probably thinking maybe something along a retest of the lows here. So it looks like the 5 minute here is going to solidify into a topping tail false breakout, which is signs of being bearish. However, if we start to reclaim this topping tail, those shorts that we're getting in, thinking this is the top, they're going to start to panic. And sometimes you can see a short squeeze from that. So it's kind of, trading is very much psychological. It's chart patterns, but you have to understand the psychology behind the chart patterns. And that's how you get that. That's where you get your conviction. So I'm thinking at the open, geez, man, these freaking halt levels are going to be insane. These halt levels are going to be stressful. I don't know if I want to focus on that too much. SINT, very nice. I wouldn't say it's ripping, but it's nice to see we have increasing volume here into the open. I would probably be interested here after 15. Strength and holding over a VWAP. It still has a long way to go here, up to like 19. It's still considered in a range until it breaks over 19, because you have the set in the low and you have your set in the high. So it's not really a front side yet until break of 19. So it's still kind of stuck in a range. But if you can break over this pivot, then we're looking for the front side move. So, maybe I get interested at 15, but I really get interested here after 19. After you break 19, that's where I'm really going to be getting interested, looking for the front side move. Because until we break 19, we're still considered in a range. And when you're in a range, you definitely want to be at risk of buying towards, the upper end of the range and catching a backside back to the low of the range. That's why when you're trading towards the high end of a range, it's best to keep, and if you're looking for a breakout of the range, it's best to keep your risk really tight in case it's still in respect of the range versus going to break out. But when you break over the range, sometimes you'll get a retest of the higher of the range, and that's where you can get a little bit more aggressive. So SINT so far has signs that it could potentially give us something. We have about 2 minutes here to the open. However, I think all eyes are going to be at LSDI. So I'm going to be watching LSD at the open. Probably small share size to start. If I see like setups that I like and I'm hitting it nice on small size, and I'll look to size up. So that's my game plan here today. LSDI here at the open. It is up 300%. Who knows how much higher this can go? So definitely want to be keeping that risk tight. And also got to be aware of those halt levels. So, and then if this just starts to fade, then I'll probably look at for something else, maybe SINT or something else that maybe will pop up. So good luck, stay calm, cool, and collected, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.